Hey there, friends. It's been a while. Welcome to another episode of Oh no, my computer got very excited too. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Mask. I'm your host, Sarah Joy, your friendly neighborhood interrogator turned clone, helping you to get to know the person behind the screen name. Tonight, we're chatting with Chris. You may know him from The Otherplace, Coruscant Nights, Teen Titans, The Foxglove Letters, Mecha Hack. We were going through a bunch of these beforehand, as well as the Behind the Mask episode that apparently only happened in my mind.
The best. It was absolutely the best.
It was the best. It was the best episode. It was the best episode. So glad to finally get you on here and have it not just be my head canon, Chris. So
It's a
tell us a little
pleasure.
bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. Well, first off, it's wonderful to be here for the second time, returning, right? Um,
Right, of course, of course. Again, the
yes.
first one only being my headcanon.
But yeah. So what do we want to know? I've been all over the place with the Nightcast crew and doing all kinds of little voiceover things here and there. Um, Playing tabletop games with everybody in like Bounties and Beskar and just other little one-offs here and there for the Hopco stuff and goodness
Oh, that's right,
been in role.
Hopco too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just little things, here and there,
fun.
one shots, things like that. But before that stuff, just gosh, what do you want to know? What do we start with? What do people usually tell people?
So this is the beauty of this question, and nobody, I
Uh-huh.
don't think anybody has got me to talk about this so far. So I
Hmm.
love starting with this question, like tell us a little bit
Hmm.
about yourself, because then you either tell me what you think I want to hear, or you tell me what you think about yourself. So
Oh, that's fine. Well, I'll keep going. I can keep going on this for a while. So
totally
so
keep
we got
going.
what,
Totally
three
keep
hours
going.
to keep going here? Okay, so
Yeah, yeah, like I think we're going for a 15-hour stream. I'm so
yeah,
excited that
let's do
everybody
it.
tuned in. Your cameras
Everyone,
are now locked on this station.
yes, and everyone that likes and subscribes, then we can go an extra 30 minutes, right? Is that how we're supposed to do this?
That's totally it. That's totally it. I say not even
Uh,
looking at the YouTube.
yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So as far as like a bit about myself, I am married to Joyfully Me, which many people in the Nightcast Creative know, and I also see, people who follow your stuff know because you interviewed her on the third episode of, and I only know that because I went back hunting for it so I could show it to somebody and go, "This is what I'm going to be on later. Here, take a look at my wife on here." So,
Yes.
there's that. And I've been, well, role playing for a very long time as far as that kind of stuff goes.
Mhm.
Being creative and doing that stuff since, oh, I'm going to date myself here because I'm 45. So, oh gosh,
That's right. You're
early
in good company.
2000s, yeah, early 1998 was when I first started role playing, way out in like in the computer rooms at the college when I got out of high school, and was, oh, I'm going to do this. Yes, yes, Windows 98. Yes. Oh
So for those
gosh.
of you who don't see our chat on Discord, number one, you need to be a part of our Discord channel. It's Nightcast Creative. It's super fun. But Andrew, who works behind the scenes on Behind the Mask and really is the reason that I could show up into this, just dropped a Windows Microsoft 98 GIF. That is
Threw me
black.
off big time.
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
I
But
can hear the noise.
yeah, so that was a big part of it. If you give me just 1 second, I need to pick, my fan fell over here and I want to pick it up because it's blowing off in the middle of nowhere. So one moment. Technical difficulties. We knew we would have them.
Please hold. Please stand by. So, Chris and I were talking
Yes.
beforehand. I'm just gonna keep talking while
Yeah,
you're
I'm
off.
still here. I'm just, yeah.
So Chris and I were talking beforehand about the Foxglove letters, and this is a passion project that he's doing with Andrew, who again is our wonderful technical human being, who is the reason that you can see my face right now,
I'm back.
on
Everything's good
on
now.
Discord or whatnot. Okay, excellent. So yes, you're
Just
not a distraction. You're so much more than a distraction. You're the you
100%.
are the you are the person behind the curtain. You are what makes this run. Technical director. There we go. Andrew, the technical
Yes.
director. I love it. I love it. But Chris, tell us a little bit about the Foxglove letters and kind of why you love it so much. Not
Oh
kind of.
gosh.
Why do you love it so much?
Well, because I get to hang out with Andrew. That's like kind of the biggest part there. Not trying to like pander at all, but seriously. Um, mm. so I don't know. It's Andrew pitched this to us like, oh gosh, many moons ago now. I'm not even going to try to date when we started talking about this kind of thing, and he wrapped me and Mark and his wife and AJ into it. We were talking about it and coming up with this. He had this grand vision for this awesome steampunk Victorian monster investigation type world type deal, and age of magic and the age of man and all this kind of stuff. And it seemed like it was a lot of fun, and it was like, okay, cool, we get to world build with this, and then we also get to play in it. And that's even the better part about it, because he had already grabbed me and AJ and said, let's do a test run and let's do totally not Sherlock Holmes and just have you two riffing off each other and survive an encounter. And that spun off into being Lord Luther Lockwood, you know. And so, it's just a wonderful thing to do, and it's a lot of fun to go around and try to solve mysteries and not really think anything about the supernatural, because that's just hodgepodge. And totally work on, finding the logical reasons why things are happening, and solve these problems for all our local aristocrats and, regular people that just have to deal with, the stupid, coppers that really don't know what they're doing and just can't get the job done properly. Uh, but anyways, that it just was something that just spun out of control in my brain, and I really enjoy being a part of it and just getting to play as Luther and do my own little Sherlock Holmes kind of punk um, vibe, set in that world, just enjoying riffing off of everybody and having a good time.
You're very good at riffing off of everyone. I love that. So you said kind of Sherlock Holmes steampunk. What got you interested in Sherlock Holmes steampunk? I'm going to assume that this has been something that
Oh
you've
well,
enjoyed for a while.
well, okay, ironically on that one. So steampunk, I've always loved the aesthetic on that stuff. So that's how Andrew hooked me on that one. Just the typical, oh, here nothing ever aged past steam, and everybody with the goggles on and the cool aesthetics with the outfits and stuff, because nowadays it's fashion is so bizarre. It's nice to see something that's practical but could be outlandish at the same time. So
Mhm.
riffing off of that kind of stuff is a fun thing. I've never been able to cosplay, but I would definitely cosplay Victorian style if I could. um and or steampunk in that regard. I think it's just kind of a cool alternate way of looking at stuff. Um, and as far as the other way, I'm losing track of myself here. What was the other part? The
That's okay.
aspect of that?
I'm here for you. Sherlock Holmes.
The Sherlock Holmes. Okay, Sherlock Holmes. That is actually due to my dad. And
Okay.
ironically, this project's the only project I've ever told Dad about and been like, "Hey, Dad, this is what we're gonna do, and I'm letting you know because of this. Eventually, this is gonna be a cool thing, and I'd love for you to hear it." He hasn't heard it yet, but I've sent him the links, and he's been excited about what we've discussed with the story and stuff like that. But
Oh, that's great.
Sherlock Holmes, he originally started me on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes
Mhm.
books and stuff like that when I was young.
Mhm.
So reading about Sherlock Holmes and watching the old shows, The Hound of the Baskervilles and stuff like that, and just seeing all the Sherlock Holmes stuff is something that I've always enjoyed. Even Robert Downey Jr.'s version of Sherlock Holmes, and
Mhm.
just it's just something you can settle in. It's like, hmm, how to explain it? It's like sitting down with your favorite cup of whatever in front of a fireplace and just enjoying something. And with mysteries like that, that's kind of something that I just love diving into and just sitting there and just picking out, trying to, you know, figure things out before it's already figured out, kind of deal. And it just something I like to do. So
I like that. I like that. Did you ever solve a Sherlock Holmes mystery before Sherlock Holmes did?
no, no, never did. No, no,
They
never
leave
did.
out details. They leave out details. I want to
Oh,
make that very clear. That and Agatha Christie. It's infuriating
oh,
because you're like, you didn't
yes.
give me all the information.
My mom was a huge Agatha Christie fan, so she had all
Uh-huh.
those books. She also had all the Cat Who series. I can't remember who wrote those, but
Ooh.
you remember the Cat Who series, right? No, it was like the cat who went to dinner, the cat who the cat who went to the library, the
Vaguely.
cat who did these things. It was a huge series with like little cat paws and stuff like that, and the author would
Mm.
Although not cats, real cats, but that was just her theme was, and I can't remember all the specifics to it. But Agatha Christie, one of my first books that I got mad at for murder mystery stuff was Ten Little Indians. I think it was Ten Little Indians.
Oh, yep,
Remember that one? I got
I
so
do. That was
mad
one of
at
my
that
first
because
Agatha Christie books.
the
Mhm.
ending, because the author flat out lies to you. So you're looking and going,
Mhm.
okay, I've got all the clues. I know who it is. Wait, but they're dead. How can it be that this just makes no sense? What happened? Then who
Yep.
is it? What did I miss? And then you find out, oh no, ha 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 ha. Behind the scenes, no, this person actually was alive. That was the first book I got legitimately angry at because I was misled on where you were supposed to go with things. I'm like, that's not fair. We're supposed to be able to figure this out. Why would you do this to us?
Yep. Yep. Well, and it was like bizarre things like, and it was the mark of Cain. And I'm like, who knows that? No one knows that.
Right?
Is that even a thing? Did you make that up?
Oh gosh, yes.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Totally love that. I totally love that. So we're getting into your childhood, which I like. I like to,
Mm.
we're gonna like drill deeply down inside your soul tonight. I'm kidding.
Okay.
How does the mundane world view you, Chris?
Mm. Well, as an awesome father and husband,
Ah, uh-huh.
and I have fur babies as well, that occasionally like me because I have food. You know how this goes.
Okay. Are they
Um,
cats?
yes, two
Mhm,
cats. We have two
mhm.
cats. One named Missy that acts like my daughter, and the other one named Atlas that acts like my son.
I love it.
To be honest, because Atlas just bowls around thinking he's a dog, and he's not. And then Missy likes to hide away and just watch things, and then really wants to go eat food, like our daughter, who's a big foodie. So,
Oh my God,
but
I love it.
as far as like, other than that, I do tech support for a living, so I
Nice.
get to be a unlicensed therapist helping people with their technical issues and helping them calm down while they're in the middle of these technical issues. So that's
That's accurate.
right. It's
It's
it's how
it's
it feels.
incredibly accurate. How many times do you tell people, have you tried turning it off and then on again?
I thankfully I don't have to tell them that specifically because I work for a software company that is like cloud
Mm.
storage. So there's no turning it off and on again, but there is a lot of, hey, why don't you log out, clear your browser history and let your history and cache and then try this again in this area here. So
Oh
I
my
guess
God.
that's, yeah,
Yep.
a typical one.
Have you tried logging in through an incognito window?
Yes, yeah, because half the time you tell them to clear the
Classic.
cache, then they don't know how to do that, or they don't do it
Mhm,
fully, and so just
mhm.
use a different browser. Oh, I don't use a different browser. I only use what's been given to me on the operating system, and you're like, okay, well, download this, things like that. But a lot of customers, it's just simple things. Ironically, you would think that, being doing that kind of stuff, you would run across a lot of really complex things. But honestly, 9 times out of 10, it's a simple thing, simple solution. So that's what I am. And even to my family, oh, you work in IT, and so therefore you must be able to fix everything. So hey, I've got this problem with this computer, and I don't know what the deal is. Things like that. I think
Yep.
everybody in IT has to deal with that.
Yep. Yep. Accurate. Accurate. Although don't come to me for your product support because it's not going to go well.
Yeah. I mean, hey, well, it'll be interesting.
It would be. It would be. Have you tried letting your computer on fire?
Yes. Have you done the incantations properly? Remember, we have to do the proper incantations in order to summon the proper machine demon in order to make it work properly.
Right. Have
Yeah.
you tried exercising the gremlins from your computer? You weren't supposed to feed them after midnight.
Yes. Yes. And the cookies are really good in milk. Make sure you clear those
Oh
and
my
use those
God.
for later.
So the
But yeah.
chat agrees that you are the perfect unlicensed therapist. You're so inconsistent with people trying to learn stuff.
I do not
Oh,
have a fabled tech support shrine. That would be
what is a
awesome.
fabled tech support shrine? I don't know what this is.
I don't know either, but it sounds amazing, and I bet Eric could
It
talk about it. But
does. Yeah, we'll see if we get that answer from the chat. But yeah, that's amazing. So
hmm,
computers, but you're like, you know what I really want to do? I want to hang out with more people on computers afterward.
yes. Oh,
So
absolutely.
what
It's
got
it's
you into
like,
gaming? Like,
huh?
why are you here? I said, what got you into gaming?
Oh, well, what gaming? because there's lots of gaming. There's tabletop
I
gaming,
know.
there's video gaming, there's all kinds of stuff. Video games was a big thing growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Tell me
let's
more
start
about
with
that.
that. Yeah, let's start with that. So growing up, family didn't have a ton of money, and I remember specifically asking for a Nintendo Entertainment System. That dates me. Um, when I was younger, and
Mm-hmm.
and also got a chess set the same year for Christmas. And my parents. I remember distinctly, I was playing chess with my cousin in the front room after we got our Christmas stuff. We're just playing chess and checkers on this cool little
Mm-hmm.
magnetic board, right? One of those that like folded in half and then had all the stuff
Oh,
inside of it,
yeah.
and you'd pop it open and then you could
Yep.
play anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were playing that and just having a good time. And my dad comes in the room and he's like, "You have a $200 game system and you're playing checkers." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, strategy. We're just playing. We'll get to that later. It's fine. To do this first." but
Yep.
uh,
Yep.
but yeah, started off with that, Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers and old games like that, and got into the Mega Man series was a fun one. Uh, oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes. I never played with Roby the Robot. We never got him, or whatever that robot attention
I didn't even know there was a
thing was.
robot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he was for certain games, and I can't remember exactly what he was for, but I know that we didn't have the money for him for sure.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but yeah,
Hard
but I
selling.
did. But we did. Final Fantasy is where I got introduced to that. Final Fantasy
Nice.
1 and 2, and then obviously. We didn't get the Famicom versions, but we got, after reading lots of fantasy books and talking about stuff like that in high school and whatnot. In college,
Mm-hmm.
starting the online role playing on forums. Like World Broadcasting Systems had forums. WBS is what it was called for short.
Uh-huh.
And that, along with AIM chat, we would do online chatting and stuff like that, role playing that way. Uh, Moved on to another form that was called Illusionary Minds chat, which was, and what I mean by, it's like play by post. So instead of play
Mm-hmm.
by email, which used to be by letter, and then it was by email, and now it's, you're in groups that
Wait, there
do
was
it
play by
online.
letter?
I've heard of that. I never did it, but yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of like
Okay.
pen pals, but you would have a
I had
group of
no
people that
idea.
that you play with, and you would, write out a letter like as you were your character,
Mhm.
here's what I've been through, and da 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 da, and then you would mail that off to somebody, and then they would read it, and they would reply back in character, and it was a thing, And I've known
That's
diplomacy groups used to do
fascinating.
that, like the game diplomacy, where you would write
Uh-huh.
to your people and be like, we're going to make these moves on France and whatever, and then
Mhm.
they would orchestrate this crazy stuff. I never was in the middle of that stuff. But yeah, I did the online role playing and the post play by post and stuff like that, and learned,
Mhm.
really put forth a lot of writing and doing that kind of thing. And then my best friend and I met a guy in college that showed us or no, what was it? It was Big Eye Small Mouth. So we knew there was D&D, but was kind
Uh-huh.
of like didn't know what to think about D&D because of the big scare with summoning demons and all that kind of stuff. And then people, honestly getting way too involved in that, and then having unalive issues and things like that that you hear scares about that legit happened, but it was just because people, you know, went way too far into what they were playing. And so we went with Big Eye Small Mouth. What could
Oh.
be better than an anime role playing game?
Mhm.
So we started with that. Didn't really follow the system, but got to see how that kind of stuff played out. I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And so then we stopped hanging out with that guy so much because of college classes change and whatnot. And so then me and my
Right.
best
Right.
friend, we want to do this. And my best friend was in film school, and he's wants to be a writer, and he's written some stuff. So he said, I'll DM and we'll just do this and we'll be fun. Get your wife and other friends involved. And so at the time, I didn't have my wife, just had friends with that. But when my wife and I met and stuff like that, we got her involved in it and did stuff like that. So it wasn't D&D, but it was still some of the similar stuff. It
Mhm.
was, you know, telling the campaigns, having characters that would last through multiple campaigns, and then we'd switch to something else. We made our own basically made our own little homebrew system of how we played. That
I
was
love that.
riffing off of Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy had all the like the special techniques you could do, and they were really
They had, yeah,
fancy. And
they had great mechanics.
yeah, and so the cool techniques that, oh no, he's summoning fireballs, and it's the train that's flying through and doing whatever. We would
Mhm.
make things more um, cinematic. And we enjoyed that rather than being like number crunching with numbers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And that led into, more play by post stuff. And then I got into a writing group at one point, doing an X-Men spinoff type thing. So it was like X-Men mixed with, what was it? Mixed with like Suicide Squad. So it was
I like it.
inmates, the whole thing was like, oh, metahumans are bad. Well, we're locking up people that are causing problems. So then we were playing the metahumans that were in jail, dealing with themselves being obviously taking, going, well, hey, you got these powers and we still got bad guys out there doing powers, so why don't you just go do these missions for us? So you go out and write about these stories and do that kind of stuff. So we did that for a couple of years, and then got in with, Mark stuff. Well, that's another tangent because that has to do with learning about Dice for Brains.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
and
Which
Dice for
brought
Brains
many
was the
people
was
in.
that was my gateway drug into understanding and
Exactly.
realizing,
Yeah.
oh, hey, there's this new game out there that's really cool, and it's got this narrative system, and oh, this is cool. And then really getting hooked on that, and
Mhm.
listening to that with my kids, which was
Oh, I
fun.
love it.
So they were really young, and they liked listening, and they really liked Bear, and and they were listening to that for the good long time, and then they kind of, oh, I'm too cool for that, even though they're what, 5 and 6 at the time,
Oh
so they
my
got
God.
distracted in other things, right?
Uh-huh.
uh but uh but yeah, that's where I got into that, and then that led me into getting in touch or running into, I think, Adam and Mark, and then that got me on the Nightcast and Force Majeure and just those Discord groups, and that's how I'm here. It's a real
You were
roundabout
you were an
squirrel
early
wave.
adopter. Yeah, you were I think you were here not long after I was, or maybe before I was. Drunk will Groggle know, he'll post it in the
Oh,
chat.
totally.
But yeah, you're OG, my friend.
Yeah. And I just hung out because I just wanted to hang out with people because it was fun to like, oh, we'll talk about these things, or we'll do, what's everybody else up to? And then I started getting asked to do stuff. It was kind of fun. Or actually, I was like, hey, I want to do things. You know, I remember, I remember for Dice for Brains. I
Hmm.
remember one of the. So this is fun. So one of the near the, I can't remember what season it was. 5 or 6 or something along those lines. They started doing games where it was like, hey, we're going to run a game in the world to kind of prep up for, what the season's going to be for the people, for the
Nice.
characters and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I remember being in talks about that, wanting to be a part of that kind of thing and stuff like that. And,
Hmm.
and I remember Joy got to do one of those, and that was fun because I really encouraged her to branch out and get into that stuff. So she ended up doing one of those. She did the one for the I can't remember the world. It's the medieval world with where everybody was like, "Oh, the force is magic," because they treated it like magic, opening spell books,
Hmm.
doing the Welk. Yes, weak, Weik, weak, not Welk, weak. So, yep. But yeah, so
I
I
love it.
wasn't a part of Ross doing all that stuff at the beginning, but then started realizing, oh, he is doing these things. I'm gonna try to get in on this stuff. So
Hmm.
I remember that, and I remember that Ross sent me a one of the first books I ever got for the Star Wars RPG stuff was his beta copy of Age of Rebellion. He mailed it to me
Oh,
because he
nice.
didn't need it because he had the actual, the new stuff. But he's like, hey,
Mhm.
if you're wanting to kind of look at it here. So that was cool. So I got that, and that got me really going. Oh yeah, I really want to get into this. I want to get into this. Oh no, they've got 3 lines of stuff, and then getting a lot of those books. So I started collecting all that stuff, and getting into that. But yeah, that's why I've been around, is basically because of all that stuff. And yeah, originally, you know, um, Dice for Brains. There was a couple other actual
Mhm.
play podcasts that I really liked, but they all fizzled out way before Dice for Brains finished off. And I would follow those and be like, oh, okay, so they're doing it this way. And then, okay, well, I want to run some of this stuff too. So
Mhm.
then I started listening to Skill Monkey, which was a cute little podcast that had like little 15-minute episodes where he would go, okay, there's a lot of skills in in the Star Wars role playing system. Everything from athletics to charm to deception to all these things. But
Mhm.
how do you manage the narrative system? Because it's not just a on off. It's not just a you succeed, you fail. There's the
Right.
threats, there's the advantages, there's the triumphs, there's the despairs. And so the skill monkey would go through and be like, oh, well, this is how this, if you're going to do climbing, here's how the scenarios would play out with your roles if you got these things, just kind of giving you ideas to be narrative and
Mhm.
add flavor to stuff. And that was a jam for me. I really liked that. And so, yeah, got into that stuff and then started playing, DMing, things for my
Mhm.
friends and whatnot. And then started playing games and being able to be on things on the Nightcast. So I'm gonna keep talking about this stuff unless you like steer me somewhere.
Why would I? Because you're talking about all awesome things. So you're steering yourself
Okay.
very well. And again,
I,
making my job easy. The more you all talk, the easier it is for me.
well,
Oh my God, I
as
love
anyone that knows me, they have to shut me up in order to get a word in edgewise because I
it.
keep going off on things, so it's fine. But
Which is good, right? That's what we want. So
yeah.
I'm super curious. So you'd mentioned a couple times like you really enjoy the creative aspect of this.
Hmm.
So what I'm going to guess that you have other creative ventures in your life that you like. And this is a guess.
I'm sure it's a guess. Yes, yes.
It
Um,
actually is a guess because I'm like, oh crap, what else does Chris do in his free time?
well, okay, so currently, what do I do in my free time? Well,
Mhm.
first off, I get hit up for voiceovers for Teen Titans, like we
Yeah,
mentioned at the
Teen
beginning of the
Titans.
episode. And
That just won an award too.
yeah, that's so awesome that happened. I'm really excited for that and how things have. Sorry, okay, it been going on, but yeah, so did that, and Dwayne keeps me active with that because he keeps pinging me
Mhm.
and AJ and be like, hey, I need somebody to voice over this. I need somebody to do this, and that all started because of Flight Risk. Because he started
Mhm.
going, well, I'm going to start doing this, and I would need people to like chime in. I'm like, sure, here, hit me up, let's do this. And I enjoy voices. I enjoy doing different characters and things like that. So that's a part of creativity that I like doing. Um, Another part is, well, I mean, I play Star Wars: The Old Republic. Still playing that
Mhm.
game. It's still around. Been around for what, 12 years now, 13
Okay.
years. It's been around for a while, but there's a role playing community that's a part
Mhm.
of that. And so I'm still active in doing that stuff. The true end game is Space Barbie, as we call it, where you make outfits for your characters from in-game
Yeah.
assets.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, so I mean, I play that and don't really play the game for the content anymore, but just play it for role play sake with friends and
Mhm.
with guilds and stuff like that. So that's something that I do a lot of. Just on the regular. I've even got a spreadsheet that I kind of keep track of, like, okay, I'm going to do this event on this day. I'm going to hang out with this person on this day. Doesn't always get filled up, but it's good to have because ADHD brain. Other than that, on a personal side of things, I
Mhm.
had a friend that got me. She's a 3D artist,
Nice.
and she does well, she does 2D art, but she also does 3D art, and 3D art using a program called Daz Studio or Daz 3D,
Okay.
where basically you buy the assets, like, oh, somebody made this character or whatever, and then you can get the environments, and then you set everything up, dress them, buy the assets again, and
Nice.
make photos, like almost like photography in that sense, because you're setting up the
Mhm.
camera, you're doing the apertures on that, you're doing the lighting in the scene, and then you're rendering stuff out. So she got me started on that, and then that kind of reminded me of, oh yeah, I've tried to do 3D modeling back when I was in college, with Maya and when 3D Studio Max and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
I could get things in my head that I wanted to do, but I just wasn't ever good at like building them from the ground up, unless it was non-living objects. So like swords and medallions and things like that. I could do structural stuff really well,
Mhm.
and I can make that kind of stuff. But if you ask me to like animate slimes punching each other and stuff like that, it was really not so great. But what I've done now is I'm into the 3D studio stuff, and I've been making all kinds of renders and whatnot, and then started taking pride in my work and actually
Uh-huh.
labeling, branding it. It's like, okay, I'm going to brand it as the BlamedCat stuff because every good artist has a signature, and it took me a while to get to a point where I felt that I deserved to have recognition for what I'm doing. So that was a cool step in my own personal journey of realizing
Mm-hmm.
that I'm worth it and I should show that. Not like I know it in my head, but it was like to put yourself out there and be like, okay, I'm going to brand this as something because I'm proud of this and I deserve recognition for me doing this rather than just putting it out there and it getting stolen and used by somebody else, right?
Yeah,
So,
let's talk more about that.
oh, okay. What do you want?
Yeah.
What part do you want to talk about?
So let's talk more about, you said it took you a while to figure out that, like, and I'm not going to say this exactly because I'm going for the over
Paraphrasing.
uh, I'm paraphrasing. Thank you. The overall idea is, like, how did you transition and you said, hey, my work is valuable, my voice is valuable, my art is
Mm-hmm.
valuable, and I have the confidence to put this out there. What changed in your life to bring you to that point?
Well, okay, so I was doing the dad stuff and I was learning
You
how to
say
do the
doing the
system.
dad stuff?
Well, Daz 3D. So not
Dads.
dad. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
I'll
mean,
say
that's
Daz Studio. So instead of saying the dad
mm,
stuff, I do the dad stuff anyways, but that's not part of it. Um, so I was doing this stuff and I was rendering things out and I was learning how to use the system and how to like get the lighting right and do all this stuff and just kind of poking around at it. And my friend Nikki, the one who got me into it, was like, "You're really this is coming naturally to you. I'm seeing that you're doing really good with this." She would just send me like, I go, "Well, how do I do this?" And she'd send me a video tutorial. So I go watch the video tutorial. Then I go down a rabbit hole. Then I would do it. And then I'd be like, okay, well, I want to challenge myself. How do I do this? Something more than I've done before. And then I would ask her, and here's another tutorial. Go
mm.
figure it out. She'd make me figure it out, but she'd at least give me the right resources, right? Um, YouTube University kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
But I
I
would
like,
start
yeah.
doing that. Yeah, and she's like, "Hey, you're good enough. You could probably get paid to do your work." That I haven't got to that stage yet because I'm still really skittish about
Mm,
doing that kind of thing, putting myself out there, putting a dollar amount on something, and then having to do a project for somebody. But I've done it. I've had guildmates that have like, "Hey, I want you to do this," and then I would do it. They would pay me and go that route. But I haven't like, I am officially a 3D artist kind of thing. I
mhm,
guess I'm kind of going that route now. But hey, so I was I was watching a guy on Twitch. His name's Monarch. He goes by Monarch Creative. Really great Canadian guy. Does a lot of 2D art and stuff like that. And he would just sit there and draw on his streams. And he's an older gentleman too. And he would always be talking with with his small little group of people that I ended up stumbling across because I was watching Twitch and stuff like that, and got into his group with him, just talking with him about stuff and was asking him questions like, how did you get started?
mhm.
Because he's always like, you just need to put yourself out there. It's like, you're not perfect. You're not going to be perfect. You're never going to be perfect. Just
Right.
start doing something. Just like with anything,
Mhm,
drawing, you have to start somewhere. And he would say, hey, do this, use reference pieces, draw the stuff, learn it that way. It's okay. Don't sit there and think you have to come up with all this in your brain. Use things that help you present what you want. And that was one of the conversations. And then I started talking to him. I go, well, what about how did you figure out branding? I actually talked to him in DMs on
mhm,
Discord and was asking him questions about that. I was just really anxious and just trying to talk to him. And he goes, well, you just need to pick something and go with it. Pick something that is you and go with it and don't overthink it. And your value is, you are valuable and you do have value. And at first I was saying, well, it's not art because I'm not hand drawing it, right? And that was one of the first hurdles,
mhm,
was him going, has
mhm,
anyone told you it's not art? Because you're doing 3D things and you're creating these scenes and you're taking these pictures and you're rendering these things out for people to look at, and it is art because you're being creative with it. That's what art
mhm.
is. And no one has the right to tell you that it's not art. And you need to stop telling yourself that it's not art. And so that was the first thing that I had to really understand, was that there's a lot of things in this world that you self doubt and you your brain doesn't like change. Your brain always goes, oh, hold on, self-preservation. We don't want to do that. That makes you feel uncomfortable. Let's just stay over here where we know we're safe. And
Yep.
that's kind of, it goes into the same thing with the creative aspect of it. Oh, I've never DM'd before. Now you may be a terrible DM just because you're not good at managing squirrels and cats on cocaine, basically, aka players. But if you don't put yourself out there and try it, then you don't know if it's a good fit for you or if it's something that you can really sink your teeth into.
Hmm.
And same thing with art. I didn't know that I was that good at it, and I kept thinking, okay, I'm I'm decent at this, but I didn't realize how good I was actually at it until my wife had to tell me, and other people had to tell me, go, no, your stuff is good. You should value this. And that's where I was like, okay. So I started putting my signature or my little BlamedCat, which you can see if you go to the YouTube channel, I made that little logo for myself so that I had something because I wanted something that was unique to me. And my cat Atlas is the one that gave me the inspiration because he always looks like that in the morning. He always looks like, what are you doing? Why did you wake me up? And has that cute little attitude. So I'm like, oh, it works perfect. And BlamedCat comes from college days of
Hmm.
had to come up with some kind of name for, we were doing Unreal Tournament. And that's really where it came from was, oh, Xbox and Unreal Tournament and games like that. And it's like, oh, what better to get, a killing spree of you being killed by BlamedCat. Ha ha ha. And that kind of just stuck. So I said, hey, that'll work out great. BlamedCat 3D, BlamedCat, I'll do it that way. And that's what I'll go with and lean into it. And that's pretty much why I've been branded as BlamedCat on all the Sofa Nightcast and not. So but
Um,
that's how I got to the point of railing myself back in here. That's how I got to the point of first realizing that what I was doing was art, and then
mhm.
realizing that my art was worth something, and it wasn't just a throwaway thing. That I should take pride in it and see the value that I'm creating in it because it's not just it's for fun, but it's also something that's more than that, and uh, and
Right.
it's worthwhile. So that's where I made that step. It's kind of like the same thing of realizing another tangent that goes back to another time where I had to do that kind
Keep
of thing was
going.
like losing weight.
Hmm.
Obviously I still need to lose weight. Everyone does. It's just a thing. But I had to come to a point of realizing, hey, if you don't start doing something, then you're never going to get the results that you want. Even if you fail, at least you have something. And if you don't
Yeah.
start somewhere, then you're never going to get anywhere. It like sales people always say, the answer is always no unless you ask. It
Yes.
really is the kind of same vibe. If you don't start, you don't know, and it's scary, and no one's got it down right, and no one is amazing at it, and your path to success is or advancement or progression or whatever is never a straight line. It's some crazy backwoods trail up in the Appalachians that is going to be crazy and insane, and some days you're not going to do great, some days you're going to do fine, but the point is consistency. So you keep pushing yourself to do something, and you will eventually progress and be better off than you were years ago because you actually took those steps.
Exactly.
So
I love that you worked yourself totally through there. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. Um, and like it's so true, right? Because so many times, and I see this like ADHD, right? We have this giant wall of can't that is very
yes,
hard to get over. Yeah.
yes. It's called the
um,
wall of awful. Actually, the phrase is the
oh, you
wall of
call it the wall
awful.
of awful?
Hmm.
Oh,
Hmm.
interesting. I call it my wall of can't because the thing that comes out of my mouth first is I can't.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, but I
Yeah.
can. It just takes effort. It takes more effort.
Yeah. Well, the thing is
So
especially with us
yeah.
ADHD folks, is we're
Mhm.
going, oh, I need to do that. But then that involves me also doing this and this and this and this and this and going up. Oh, and then you're like, but before I can do that, I've got to wash my clothes. But before I wash my clothes, I've got to clean the sink because I went to the bathroom. And then now I've got to do that. And then that's what happens with our wall of awful, or probably most people's wall of awful or wall of can't, is that you keep thinking there's so many moving parts that I have to master. But no, you don't have to
Right,
master
it's
them.
that mastery. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that mastery that gets you. Like, so I cosplay,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I
that's
was
awesome.
like, yeah, super fun. But I was like, well, I can't cosplay until I sew well and understand how to like to create my own garments. And that
Hmm.
was so not the case. Like,
Yeah.
we build these we build these imaginary barriers and boxes for ourselves that we like to put ourselves in and tell ourselves
Yeah.
that we cannot have the joy until we go through all of the hard steps, which is just completely not
Yeah.
true. Like
Yeah.
the process of learning art, the process of learning any skill
Hmm.
really is a journey, and it's not an end point,
Yeah.
because you will never reach the end of that journey.
That's true. Yeah, no, that's very valid. And we're not getting any younger. Doesn't matter if you're 12
Nope.
listening to this or if you're, 50 listening to this. The days are going
Right.
to keep marching onward. So it's a matter of what you want to do with those days and where you want to go with things. And some days, eh, uh, even like what Erica put it there in chat about it's a won't right now. That's okay. It's fine to have a won't, you know,
Mhm.
because
And
you
you
have
don't
to
have
mentally
to do
get
all
to a
the
point where,
things.
yeah, exactly. And then you could always pivot and do it another time or get yourself in the position where you can or want to do something and move forward with something else.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and like they're valid barriers and whatnot to holding us back from one thing, and they're
Hmm.
like from some things, and they're also like you don't have to do all of the things, and this is a lesson that
Hmm.
is very personal to myself because I
Oh,
think I have to be able to do all the things
same
and be.
here. Same here.
Oh yeah, okay, yep.
No, that's the thing. It's just I am a low key perfectionist. So I I want to do all the things well right off the bat,
Hmm.
and that
Hmm.
sucks. Learning how to exercise. People don't talk about that, but learning how to exercise or going to the gym for the first time. I actually wrote a blog post about that when I went from in college. I said I'm going to go to a gym, like actually go to a gym, right? And of my own volition, go to a gym and
Hmm.
do the stuff there. That is an intimidating thing for people who've never been to a gym or don't have a gym buddy or have somebody that's going to help them go and do that type of thing. If you're not usually active, it's a whole different world, where you step in and you see the gazelles on the treadmills over there just going away, and then you see I call them the hyenas of the gym bros hanging around the squat racks and stuff like that, and then you're just like, well, what am I supposed to? Am I going to do something wrong? And then of course it doesn't help when you have the personal trainers come by going, oh yeah, your form isn't exactly great for that over there. But if you didn't go and you didn't try
Hmm.
to get on and do something, then you never would have even gotten to the point of being in there, and then
Hmm.
it goes back to that consistency thing. But it's again of, oh, that's not for me. But if you don't try, you don't know. And sometimes you have to honestly take that step and go, okay, if it sucks, then great.
Hmm.
Okay, it sucks. At least I tried it and I can say that I tried to experience this and see where this goes. So same thing with doing behind the mask or
Hmm.
podcasting or DMing or running a campaign or drawing or anything for the first time.
Yeah,
You got to
or
start somewhere.
playing in a campaign or making friends.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a big one. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not hard for me because I'm an extrovert. You get going, I
You
can
are
just.
incredibly extrovert. That's why
It's
we're friends. That's
uh,
why we're friends.
exactly. Yep.
I
One
love
hundred
it.
percent.
Yeah, yeah. But like
Mhm.
it's that same thing, right? And we talked about anxiety before,
Mhm.
like just having having the ability to push yourself to that next level and be like, okay, if I don't,
Mhm.
then here, like, then I just never know. But using like thinking, I need to know, I need to experience that, I need to like, I have to take a first step, for
Yeah.
me has been so helpful in overcoming a lot of that. That
Mhm.
and pretending like everybody's my best friend. So
Well, hey, they are your best friend. They just don't know it yet.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. That, or they're a serial killer and I'm going to endear myself so much to them, they're not going to kill me.
You're right. Yeah, they're just going to give you a pass. They're going to give you the pass because you're the
Exactly.
good one.
Oh my god. Yeah. But I love that. I love that so much.
Mhm.
We got deep.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my God. And we've got 13 minutes left. Dang it.
No, that's fine. We can have a part
Well,
two. Have you ever had a part two before?
I mean, that would be part three because remember,
Right,
it happened
right.
in a
We have
movie
it in your
before.
brain. Right.
We have
That's
it in
fair.
my brain.
That, that still cracks me
Oh
up.
my God. I know. I
So,
know.
so what should we hit next? Somebody asked what my favorite dessert was that I'm looking forward to
Yes,
for Thanksgiving.
you're looking at the top of the questions,
Oh,
aren't
no, I remember that being one of the top ones and
you?
it's
Like that.
stuck in my
I like
brain.
that
I'm a foodie, so it stuck in my
one. Oh,
brain.
tell me.
It's
Hmm.
also why I can't lose weight because I'm a foodie. But as far as desserts go, um, let's see. At actual Thanksgiving, it would be, well, pumpkin pie is pumpkin pie a la mode. Definitely a big one for me. My mom also makes a pecan pie, and she uses her
Okay.
grandmother's recipe or her mom's recipe, my grandmother's recipe,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that whole uh, being a diabetic, that's a dangerous thing because it's so
I
sweet.
will kill you.
Yeah, just that's why you take a
It's
little bite and then you're
pecan
like,
and
okay,
sugar.
yeah, but it's really good. Or if you've ever
Mhm.
had somebody try to combine the two, and I've actually had a pumpkin pecan pie where the pecan part was like the crust, the pecan pie was the crust, and the
Oh
pumpkin pie
wow.
was on
Uh-huh.
top. Yeah, that's before I knew I was diabetic. I slept a long time on that one. But yeah, pumpkin pie's always been a big favorite in that regard. If somebody brought an apple crumb pie, that would actually be truly my favorite. But that's more for like,
Mm.
July 4th and that kind of thing.
Mhm, mhm.
But yeah, those are the kind of things I'm usually up for. Whatever as far as like desserts go, I like trying a little bit of everything, depending on what somebody brings. So I'm always
Got
trying
it.
new stuff in that regard. But pumpkin pie is usually the big staple. I don't have any other time of the year, and that just means fall and Thanksgiving to me.
I love it. Yes. Pumpkin pie is the best. Absolutely. I'm 100%.
Well,
Oh, what
Crystal,
about
I
pumpkin?
can have it over pecan pie just because the pecan pie is so sweet. I used to. Okay, if you were to
But
ask
like
me,
pecan pie over pumpkin pie.
ooh, there we go. Yeah, as a crust, ooh, that'd be
Done.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, as a
Okay,
crust or as a
it's,
topping.
it's a good pivot. I like
Hmm.
that. Now,
Yeah,
now
yeah.
here's the fun fact for. I don't know if it's a question, but I'll just answer it
It is
anyways.
now.
So, food wise, if you were to ask me what my favorite cake was, like my
Hmm.
mom would always give us an opportunity to like decide between my sister, when our birthdays came around, what cake we wanted for our birthdays, and she would make it because she's an awesome baker. Mine has always been cheesecake, always, always cheesecake with cherries. That's mine. So that's my thing, and yeah, I can tell you why I like sweets a lot. But yeah, cheesecake is definitely a win. Pumpkin cheesecake was an interesting one. I've had that before.
Oh,
Threw me
pumpkin
off.
cheesecake is delicious.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
It's almost got a savory quality to it, which is kind of odd, but it works. So
Oh my God. It is to a cake. It's a cake if we say it's a cake. Don't keep cake,
look, if
Andrew.
you want to technically say it's a flan, then yeah, it's a flan, but it's not. It come
At
on,
least
man,
it is. I
or
think
a quiche.
like,
I guess it would be technically a quiche
it's kind of
because
a
the
quiche.
crust.
It's yeah, kind of a
Eh,
quiche, but flan has crust.
well,
Like
it's still called cheesecake. It's in the name. That's all that matters. It's a cake.
so this
Hey,
is
my
this is the big controversial thing about
yeah,
this interview is cheesecake a cake? It
yeah,
has cake in the name. What do you
yeah.
want?
What more do you want? It's in the name. That's what it is.
It's delicious. That's what
Uh,
it is. Oh my god,
100%.
I love it.
But
Okay.
yeah, so
So I love this question. This question comes from Crystal. What
okay.
is the best thing about you, Chris?
Wh- Oh, I'm sorry. What? Wait,
What
what?
is the best thing about you?
Hmm. You what as somebody who devalues themselves a lot.
Of course. Of course. Well,
uh,
you're learning to value yourself and
yeah,
this is part
that's
of
fair.
it, right?
Um, I would. Hmm. How to word this? Okay, so I've personally thought of it like this. Okay, so there's a lot of things that are a good thing about me. I'm obviously a fallen human like everyone else. I'm not perfect. I'm not amazing. Saved by grace. But um, if you look at it, I'm an encourager, so that's
Mhm.
a big thing. I can't pick one thing, so I have to tell you
Good.
a lot of
Don't.
things.
Yes,
So
please
I,
do.
I am an encourager. So if you're ever down or need somebody to give you a pep talk or to help you with something, that's a big thing that I am personally with my friends. Um, I care for a lot of people. I have a big heart, which goes into the
Yeah, you do.
encouraging, both in crazy shenanigans in a game or just in real life. Uh, but there's also another piece that I think comes out in my voice acting. I guess would be the best
Mhm.
way, or just acting in general with the actual play podcast. And the best way I can explain it is I'm trying to remember the name of the movie, but I can picture it in my brain. What was the name of the movie with
Okay.
it's the animated movie with
Mhm.
with Jack Frost and Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and all those characters.
Was it animated or was it claymation?
Mm, Rise of the Guardians.
Rise
Erica
of the
got it.
Guardians?
So in Rise of the Guardians,
Oh my gosh, I
one
have to
they were
Google
talking about their little special things, right? And they
Mhm.
were talking about what their specialty was. And you know, Santa Claus's, Chris Kringle's,
Mhm.
his was wonder. Because he would always, that whole scene where he's like, "Oh yeah, I give wonder to people," and he did the little snow globe and he hands it off, and the eyes sparkle kind of thing. Um, and it gives that childhood wonder to people. That's what he, said that his really was, right? I
Mhm.
think that that is a key component of what I try to project to people and is a part of me is that when I really get excited in something and get wrapped up in it, I drag you in with me, whether you want to be dragged in or not. But you see the energy and the happiness and the joy and the wonder that I'm seeing, and that's what I try to like get out there for other people. Some people may think it's a little bit much, but that's when you get me going. That's I think is one of my biggest qualities.
My
And
gosh, I
yes,
love it
Rise of the
so much.
Guardians is 100% underrated. I agree 100%. It's such a
I have
great.
seen part of this. So they dropped a GIF in the chat, and I'm like, I
Mhm.
have seen that. I just don't remember much about it.
It was a
But
blip on the radar. It's kind of one of those that
yeah,
was like a little sleeper show. But yeah, it was a good one. I really liked it. It had a lot of cool little aspects that you wouldn't
yeah.
normally see with the characters.
We'll have to find where
We should
it's
do a movie
streaming
night.
at. We should do
Yeah.
a movie night. Oh my God, what are the legalities of that? Let's not care because it's
Mm.
private Discord. We're not doing it on YouTube. Sorry, y'all. You gotta come to the Discord.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's kind of several different things there. So,
I
I don't
love
know what else
that.
to add to that, really. Loyalty,
Oh, loyalty. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
fiercely,
Uh-huh.
fiercely and annoyingly loyal. But that's part of me being a Leo. Just, hey, I'm here. This is all me. Hey, you're my friend now. I'm gonna go toe to toe with you. Let's do this. So,
I think,
hmm.
and I would say you have quite a high charisma score, friend. Quite a high
uh,
charisma score.
well,
So
thank you. I appreciate it.
you're welcome. You're welcome. You're very hard not to instantly like.
You've tried? That means you've
No.
tried. Oh, I don't want to like him.
Oh my gosh, I've made efforts, but alas, here we
Unless I
are.
have worn you down and brought you to my side. Yes.
It was that entire first interview I did with you. I was like, this guy, I'm not gonna like this guy. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. I love it so much.
Mm.
Ooh. Okay, what's the
Oh.
best thing you've cooked?
Mm. What? Oh. Um. heh, hmm. Well, the problem with that though is like saying, okay, out of all the genres of food that you've ever made, what's the best thing you've cooked? That's almost impossible to say. I mean, I'm not a five-star Michelin chef or anything. I do like cooking. Uh, honestly, steak. Just
Mm.
that's one of the easiest ones, but it really is. It's steak and potatoes. It's just a simple Texas staple when you have the money for it. Steak and potatoes. That literally is it.
Oh, but that's delicious. And
Oh,
it's
of
hard to
course it
do
is.
well too. How do you do your potatoes?
Oh, well, it depends. I do them. Well, I'll do them a couple of ways, but usually baked potatoes. Poking them, putting the oil, the sea salt, and all that stuff, wrapping them in foil, throw them in the oven.
Mm.
Or actually, we do them in the air fryer now because the air fryer is much
Oh, the
more.
air fryer is everything.
It's amazing what you can do in the air
Mhm.
fryer. Some things you shouldn't do in the air fryer, but that's one of those that you can just pop in there, and if you don't put the foil on it, it gets super crispy, but then it's all nice
Mhm.
and steamed on the inside, and it's just beautiful. That's the way I like them. So.
So I've never met a food that you can't put in the air fryer. I'm very curious what you
Soup,
can't put in the air. Oh, yeah, no,
unless
good
you,
point.
uh, well, I take that back. Unless you have the kind that you actually can put like bowls in there and do it that way, that's probably the only one that you probably shouldn't do in the air fryer.
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
But I mean,
uh-huh.
it's like an oven, so you technically could do it.
That's very, it's like it is like a convection oven, and it depends
Yeah,
on how you got that's it's literally how I cook my dinner tonight.
yeah.
So.
I mean, I've done. What have I done in the air fryer? Now this is gonna eat up all our time because we only have 2 minutes left.
Oh well, we'll
It-
we'll lightning round after that.
okay. Let's see. I've done grilled cheese was the first thing I made in the air fryer. That was
I've never made
interesting.
grilled cheese. That's amazing.
It's it's really good. So just make sure you butter it really well. And the weird thing
Mhm,
you're going to get out of that is a different texture because the bread won't squish like you're used to in the pan.
mhm.
It stays its thickness, but then it gets crispy on top and it gets this weird kind of spongy crunch to it, which is kind
Ooh.
of cool. The trick is the cheese will ooze off and disappear if you're not managing it well. But yeah, if you put like a little foil basket or something, make some foil and put it in a little basket and put it on it,
Mhm,
fine. Um, I've done roasted potatoes in there. I have done pork chops in there. Pork chops was a really good one because it was a mustard base on the pork chops. Threw them in there,
mhm,
cooked them up. Oh gosh, it was so good. Yeah, but I mean the main thing is potatoes usually, or just fried wontons. Like the
mhm.
frozen ones. I'll throw those in there, and then you've got wontons in like 5 minutes, and I can go back to work. Or do something along those lines. So I mean, it's just a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
lot of things you can do in the air fryer.
Chicken
But
nuggies.
chicken
Yeah.
nuggets, yep, that's another good
Also,
one too.
steak. If you haven't done steak in the air fryer yet, it is surprisingly good.
Really, I have not.
Mhm.
I've been afraid to do it because I like to do mine out on the grill
Oh no,
and make sure
it's
that it's medium rare and go that route. So sorry, I'm making Andrew hungry.
yeah. I hope you all have enjoyed Chris and Nash's
Food
cooking
blog,
show here.
yes.
It's been right. This is our food talk.
Behind the food.
Behind the food, right? Behind the
Yes.
person food. I don't know.
I mean, that fell apart real quick. Oh well.
It did. It did. That's all right.
Uh,
That's all right. All right. Ready? Ready?
Lightning
Lightning
round.
round.
Oh boy.
What
What are the
part of
rules
the
for?
other play? Uh, less. One sentence or less.
Okay.
I want this one in a word. What part of the other place do you want to explore more?
In a word, um, paladins.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. Awesome. I'm excited about that.
Hmm.
Do you have any other projects you're working on currently?
In a word.
Well, no, you get a sentence for that because it's been your
Well,
thought
okay.
hard.
Well, I mean, we've already plugged almost everything. Um, Projects I'm working on currently.
Mhm,
I would consider being a member of the Mecha Hack crew as my most recent project. The voiceovers for Teen Titans.
mhm.
Still doing Andrew's Foxglove letters, even though we haven't recorded anything in quite a long time. I still consider that an open project that we're still working on. So um,
I love it.
those are the main thing. Well, and then, well, what do you consider a project? I'm sorry, I am going to derail us. What
I'm
do you
sorry. Are
consider
you
a
asking
project?
a project manager that?
Yes. What do you consider a project?
So project is a piece of time bound work. It has a beginning and an end.
Okay.
Clear beginning, clear end.
Okay. In that case, then you would also have to throw in Bounties and Beskar. While the overall campaign does not have a clear end to it, these sessions often do. So that is also fun.
That is, I love it. Which you can play on the Nightcast Creative Discord. I'm just
Yes, you can join up and you can don some Beskar and have some
yeah.
fun with us.
Or lurk in the shadows like some of us do so often and just watch what everybody else is doing and it's delightful.
Yes, it really.
Um, yeah. Who in the Nightcast community do you most want to play with?
You, of course.
That's the right answer.
Again.
Anyone who turned into the pre-show, then you know why.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what's something about you that the nice Nightcast creative community does not know?
I think I already answered that. At least one of those things.
Got a couple.
Now I got to come up more.
Mhm.
Well, the 3D art everybody knows already because I've been posting it. Um, I don't know. I don't know what people don't. I don't know what they don't know. Um. Oh, I. Well, I can give you something that I used to do. So that would be
Yeah.
something that people don't know about. Is I used to be in martial arts for a while
Oh,
in high
cool.
school. Yep, I was in. They had one near my school, and it was just opened up. We were in a little town of Princeton, so small little town, and they opened up one next to
We'll
the
take
donut
that
shop.
out. Yeah.
Huh?
Next is donut shop. Oh my
Yeah,
God, that's perfect.
yeah. It was next to a donut shop, and I did that for a couple of years. Well, a year and a half probably, but yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then they had to close down because they couldn't keep the rent up. People weren't interested in it in our area, but that was fine. I mean, we're a smaller town, so they stayed in like bigger towns. But yeah, that was something that I've done, and I was glad that I put myself into that one. That was also another one of those you should value yourself more moments
Hmm.
because because this is a fun story and it's also kind of terrifying. So I went up there and we're getting to look around the place, and the sensei was there. Sensei Moray was his name, and he was a like a former Green Beret guy, but very very nice gentleman. Carried himself very well and was talking with us and everything. And when we got done, I made some kind of self-deprecating comment about myself, saying, "Oh, I need to, I probably won't be great, but I need to, I want to do self-defense or whatever." And I made some comment, just kind of joking around, because that's normally what I would do. I was a big
Right.
guy, just what you did. And you, to deflect and to make yourself feel better, you would poke fun at yourself so people laugh. That's just part of life, right? No, he walked me up against a wall, telling me, basically looking me straight in the eyes and saying, "You will not talk about yourself that way ever again. You
Oh.
are not, you are worth something." Again, one of those "you're worth" topics, basically saying you shouldn't talk to yourself that way because that's negative speak, and you may not be great at everything, but you're definitely more worth something than that. And that sold me on coming and doing martial arts, because it was like, oh, whoa, okay. I was very terrified at first because I'm like, this guy's walking me back in his dojo to the back wall, and I literally bump up against the wall, like, oh, okay. And he just like, look, no, you actually can do this, and it's okay. You don't have to be somebody who can, bench press 450 pounds. You don't need to be somebody who can run, circles around people. This is to teach you self-worth, and to value yourself and to value other human beings. So stop it, sign up, let's do this. Kind of thing.
Oh my God, I love it. That's the best pitch for martial arts ever. This guy's yelling at me about self-love.
Oh, he didn't yell. He didn't yell. He didn't raise his voice, but the
Oh,
intensity
and he
in
still
his
backs you up.
he
Ooh.
just did the sensei thing, where you just walks up to you, and he's got that presence that just makes you feel like you're getting yelled at. But no, he's talking calmly as someone who's very self-assured in themselves, and letting you know that you have worth, and you should have confidence as well. So yeah,
Oh my God, I love that so
that was cool.
much. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, one last question. There are more questions on the Discord. So for everyone who's like, oh my God, I want to know all the things about Chris, because Chris is an amazing human. Can 10 recommend. Um,
Mm.
Chris will probably be answering these in the behind the mask chat
Oh,
that
I'm
I'm
I'm gonna
now
have to
giving
know.
him homework for.
Okay.
So,
As long as somebody
uh,
compiles them and throws them in there, and or tells me which ones are left, and then I'll be happy to do that.
yeah, or just answer them all again. Like,
No,
dude,
that's true.
do
I mean, I
you?
am questioning Cat. You should ask Adam when you get him on. Or you've already had Adam on, haven't you?
I've had Adam. Yeah, Adam and
Okay.
I are injury twins.
That's right. That's right. He got his leg
Yeah,
injured when. Yeah. Okay.
when I got my knee injured.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. But yeah, I used to do Question Cat. He used to call me Question Cat because I would go over there, and for their season finales, they would always say, "Open up for questions," and I would give like 20 questions. Like, well, we can always count on you to like just flood us with questions for
Now
people.
you have to give all the answers.
I know it's a turnabout is fair play
It
now.
is. It is.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. What was the last
Last
question?
question. What chaos do you have planned for the near future?
I don't plan chaos. It just happens. I'm a cat. I'm a BlamedCat. It, there is no planning of the chaos. It's just gonna. If somebody invites me to a game, it's going to happen. It's either going to happen with Luther. It's either going to happen with Kona. It's Kona's in the Beskar bounties and Beskar. He's my little lean, and he's just a little Spitfire, and he'll probably be my next, chaos, you know, enabler, whatever. But yeah, I don't have anything planned as far as chaos goes. It just happens. That's the nature of chaos, right?
I love it. It is the nature of chaos. It is the nature of chaos in the best way. Well,
I don't
so
plan it, Andrew. I swear.
Ah,
You
so
just
how
give
do
me
we
a nugget and I
follow
run
your
with it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes. No, you're good. Never apologize. How do we follow you? How do we follow your chaos? Where can we find you on the interwebs?
Nightcast Creative. Come over here, hang out with us on Discord. I am floating around in the ether over here. That's pretty much where you're going to find me. I don't have really a lot of other things out there. So yeah, that's the main place to find me. That'd be the best place because if I've got some kind of project or something I want to share, then I'll usually share it over here in one of the channels or whatnot. So
Yeah, it's a good community. Come on,
Mhm.
join, feel encouraged, get to know your worth.
Yeah, I'm also on the force majeure uh, Discord as well, but mainly Nightcast. I mean, that's where everybody's at. So we're all kind of conglomerated together. So that's the best one.
I
Yeah.
love it so much. All right, friends. Well, that's gonna wrap for this evening. We are planning on having another Behind the Mask in November. What month is this? It's October.
We're in
In
October.
November.
Spooky summer down
uh,
here in Texas.
Spooky summer. I love it. So if you haven't been on an episode, you'd like to be on an episode, please let us know. I am scouring the channel for anyone who will answer my messages at this point. So please make things easy. Reach out to me. And please, we would love to get to know you and get to know who the person is behind the mask, just like Chris. Thank you, Chris, so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. A second time.
I mean, the first one on video and live and not in my brain. So,
Yes. Love it.
all
Thank
right,
you so much for having me.
absolutely. Well, good night. Now is the time that we wave and we freeze.